Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ball Not Court Podcast host Cortez Paul, along with my co-host Kevin Carter. I want to thank you folks for tuning in today and listening to the show. Basically, we cover basketball, football, NCAA, or anything that's related to current events with a humorous twist to it, at least. You can follow the podcast at BIOC Podcast at X or Twitter. We're also on Instagram at the same name, BIOC Podcast. You go to our YouTube channel, that's also BIOC Podcast. Our Facebook page is Balls Not Court Podcast. So if you could please just give us a like, shout, comment on any of those, and definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Balls Not Court Podcast. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Balls Not Court Podcast. Cortez Paul is here. Mr. Paul Mack and Tom Childs. Mr. Mack, how you doing on this fantastic Thursday evening, sir?
We're in here, my guy. 3 weeks into January. We're doing, bud. We're doing.
All right. That's what I'm talking about, man. How's the you've been doing this whole the whirlpool. I know you post on how's that going? Your sleep schedule, all that.
Oh, it's great, buddy. It's great. Every morning, first thing I do, roll out of bed, hop in the cold tub for 3 to 4 minutes. Then they get my body going. Take a little warm shower. End it with a cold shower. Ready to start the day.
Yeah, Paul, can I ask you a question?
What's up, bud?
Since you're jumping in that cold tub, there's only one can think. How are your nuts reacting to this cold bath?
I knew
how do you think? It was 47 degrees this morning.
Well, let us know. For the guys out there that haven't jumped in cold water with ice in it and haven't been trying to rejuvenate yourselves. I think we talked a little bit off air about hair, and I'm at the end of my years about my hair. I think that's what you're trying to do to keep your hair growing like that.
No, man, just keep the coin purse tight. That's all.
Jesus Christ. So the shrinkage, is the shrinkage real, or is it just is that a fable?
I mean, everything, you don't even think about it when you're in there, pal. You're just cold.
I don't believe it. Paul, I don't believe it. I'm pushing closer towards my 50s, and any extra inches or any extra stretchage I can get, I'm gonna take. So I'm not getting nothing cold.
Hey man, I'm getting some of the best sleep I've ever gotten. I'm good.
Tom, how you doing today, sir?
Well, if I was like Paul Mack, I'd probably be doing really good. Paul, back to him. I'm sorry if you just bust a nut. That could do the same thing for your sleep.
Yeah, but when you gotta go to work, you got a whole day of work you gotta do. But you gotta get through the whole day first.
Bro, it's a competition. Whoever
you gotta bust the day's nut before you bust your own nut.
No. If you bust before you go to work, you lose. You're loose. Pause. I'm sorry, Cortez. I'm doing great, man. I'm blessed. I'm highly flavored and favored. Thanks for having me back on again. Yeah, man. I'm doing really well. Thank you, sir.
Good, man. Good to have you back on, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on, sir. You keep the podcast fresh. That's all I like to say.
Well, I'm out of the ice bath, as Paul Mack would say. So that's how fresh I am.
Oh man! All right. Well, hey, let's get into it right quick. Quick recap. What happened in the NFL Super Wild Card Weekend? Just as we expect, the NFL season's been crazy. It's going to be crazy, and for the most part, some of the games started off as duds, but then some other games got kind of going to it, and a lot of crazy thing happens, man. So I'm gonna start with the NFC lease. I I want to see what team in that division had the most disappointing loss.
Cut it out.
We're opening the show with this?
Cut it out, bro.
Show with this. And I am going with the Eagles fans first.
Is this why you invited me on the show this week, bro?
No, I know. Listen, then I send you the script what we're talking about.
I understand, but you probably was like, I don't have Thomas on this goddamn show.
Speak your mind, bro. Hey, listen, speak your mind. That's why we want you on here, man. You got a voice about your Eagles, man. So let the public,
I went to the game. I went to the game. I brought my son. This is our first Eagles playoff game. We showed up 4 hours early because Tampa Stadium won't let you in the parking lot before 4 hours to the game. You know, it was a crazy amount of Eagles fans. It was wild. I couldn't believe it. It was wow. So we tailgated a little bit, walked around. There was a bunch of Eagles parties like on the side going into the stadium. So I was feeling really well, feeling really good. And then not to mention, we get upstairs and I see my homeboy from the local bar that we frequent. I don't know if you know Frank. Frank was there, had his beard dyed green. It was crazy. I said, we winning this game. Boy, we sat down in them seats, national anthem sung. It was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. His son was out there. I was like, yeah, we going to win. Dog. Oh, my God. We got tore up. I didn't think this game was going to go this way. It didn't matter what I said on the last show about running the ball, about throwing the ball, about hiking the ball, about kicking the ball. It didn't matter. They could not do anything, bro. Like, it was so bad. Like, there's nothing else that I could say, brother. It was just a terrible time to watch that game. Like, I'm surprised we scored at all. Baker Mayfield looked like Tom Brady. Like, he couldn't do no wrong.
He was all over.
The defense, they got a safety. When's the last time a safety came up on any game? Bro,
yeah, it's been a while.
It hasn't been a safety. I don't. And in the last couple weeks or last couple months, I haven't seen a safety in a game. And guess what happened? Jalen Hurts, safety. It was stupid, bro. Like, I can't say nothing else about it. We played like crap. Play calling was crap. And that was a recap. Hey, Tampa Bay deserved to win, bro. They did everything right, man. Every play they had, they big chunks down the field, running plays. They were tackling. They were everything, man. So that's the recap, man. I was sitting up there pissed off.
Gotcha, man. Did you end up – when did you leave?
It don't matter what professional game it is. I usually leave like 6 minutes into 6 minutes before the fourth quarter, or the fourth quarter is over, just so I can get out the parking lot quicker. So I usually leave early. But this game, I try to leave even earlier because we were getting our ass whooped. And when we were walking out the stadium, Tampa scored again. And I heard that shit while I was walking to my car. And that was terrible again. It was bad all around.
Tom, we do, as always, no, I was saying, appreciate you having on the show, but you sharing that experience, because as a fan, to go through defeat, like, of any sort of your team is just not fun to deal with. So, like, for you to actually come on and actually talk about it, like, bro, like I said, we all just got to be humble on the feet. It sucks. It really does. But no, man, but I'm glad you and your son went to the game, not the result that y'all wanted. But nonetheless, it was a blast. Now I'm going to go to Paul, who roots for a team in the same division. I see the smile on his face. And which team was the most disappointing loss to you? Like, was it the Eagles? Was it the Cowboys? And did you just enjoy this all the way around? Like, talk to me, Paul.
It was the Giants.
It was a fantastic weekend.
I thought you said the Giants. My bad, bro.
I couldn't have asked for a better outcome. Obviously, based off of our show last week, I think most of us, besides Tom, didn't. I think you might have jumped on the Eagle train, but we knew they were in for one. So I'm not really surprised they lost that game. I mean, they've been struggling. They've been struggling bad. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't heard anything on Coach Sirianni yet, but I'm sure that's inevitable.
Oh, update. No, he's there. He's actually helping looking for new coordinators. So he'll be there for another year or two.
It's the coordinator problem. Got it. Okay. Anyway, the most disappointing loss was Dallas Cowboys. 16-0 at home in their last 16 games. They fought all year to get home field advantage. They're going up against Jordan Love. Guy's never started a playoff game in his whole career. And playoff Dak out full force. Playoff
you're right,
Dak
bro.
doing what playoff Dak does. I mean, kudos to Jordan Love. I mean, they look like Aaron Rodgers out there, but 16-21, 272, 3 touchdowns. And then, my X factor last week, Aaron Jones, 21 carries, 118 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, everything went the way it was supposed to for Green Bay. They ran the ball. Jordan Love didn't turn the ball over. Romeo Doubs, huge game. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, Dallas just doing Dallas things. I literally saw that, and it's a shame because the scoreboard at the end of the game isn't going to tell you how bad it was because Dallas scored some touchdowns late, but that game they were just taken out back and just, oh man, they got taken to the woodshed early in that game. And I was just sitting there, my phone was going off, touchdown Green Bay. I'm like, oh my God.
Paul, can you tell us what they do in the woodshed when they got taken out back? What happens out there?
You've seen the movies. You know what happens.
I don't know, brother.
You've seen Deliverance. Don't worry about it.
Jesus Christ.
But,
you know what? Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
But yeah, man. I mean, kudos to Green Bay. I think Dallas just does what Dallas does. I mean, I'm gonna have more to say on Dak Prescott later on, but Jordan Love, first playoff start, 1-0 in the postseason. He has almost as many playoff wins as Dak Prescott now. So kudos to Jordan Love. And as far as the Eagles go, I mean, to Tom's defense, they did have a lot of injuries. AJ Brown didn't play.
Yeah,
AJ Brown didn't play. There were a lot of guys digged up. Jalen Hurts wasn't 100%. The defense.
Blankenship wasn't there over the middle.
Yeah, Goddard got hurt at the end of the game, but I don't think it really mattered at that point. And then just Baker Mayfield just
picked him apart, man.
Crazy. So
yeah, and that's why we kind of saw the Eagles forecast once AJ Brown was declared out and all these others that they had. We was like, well, I kind of lean, Bucs are going to get this game. I mean, if Eagles can win this, they could have found a way. Cool, but Baker Mayfield just took off on them. And listen, the Bucs had home field, and they did what they supposed to do at home field. They took care of business. But yeah, it's definitely the Cowboys, man. And I harped on someone brought this up about Jerry's got to have a say in these home games that he picked because the Cowboys was undefeated at home. But here's the home games this year. I mean, okay, we know that the NFC East and they got the Eagles this year, and Eagles supposed to be a pretty good team. They had the Jets, the Patriots, the Rams, who's solid, Giants, Commanders, Seahawks.
But I think they
Eagles.
got the Rams. I think they had the Rams early in the year, though, right? When the Rams were kind of struggling a little bit.
Yeah, they got the Rams early in the year.
But I've been saying this,
they beat them by 1.
But I've been saying this all year. I've been saying that Jerry Jones must have been paying somebody off to get all these games at home, man. I've been saying that. I don't know if you were thinking about me, but I said it.
I think that was you, Tom.
Times.
Yeah, that was you. That combined record between those teams, the 64 wins and 73 losses. But
look what happened. Well, it's not that me making a point. I was just agreeing with your point. And you saw what happened with the Green Bay Packers, man. They played a hard team at home, and not to just mention that it was a playoffs, but again, which everybody says, the playoffs is a different ball game, bro. And they walked in there and showed them what they wanted to do, bro.
Yeah. What y'all feel about both coaches being announced? They also announced that Mike McCarthy's going to be back. You got Bill Belichick and Jim Harbaugh lying out there. Y'all not really curious about their availability? You, Tom, as far as the Eagles fan, you're not curious about their availability?
No, so I chime in all the time. I follow a lot of threads on the Eagles. Nick Sirianni ain't going nowhere. I think we set it off, or I said it offline, that they're looking for new coordinators. So Matt Patricia and other boy, they're gonna be gone, bro. And again, Nick Sirianni, he has everybody drinking that Kool-Aid. So I think they give him another couple years. The guy's only like 42 years old, so he can relate. It's a different coaching game. So to Bill Belichick, he's got his way of coaching. And not to get into it too deep, but you got to think about it. Is he good without Tom Brady? Tom Brady went to the Bucs the year after and won a Super Bowl. So you can't say Tom Brady wasn't nothing without Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But the other side of the dime was Bill Belichick anything without Tom Brady? You know what I mean? So we see that not Matt Patricia, but Jim Harbaugh, if he just won the championship. But he already had his time in the NFL, man. You saw what he did. He did decent, but I don't know if it's going to resonate again. You know, it's a different league nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, how long has he been out? Maybe 5 years, 6 years?
Seems about right. That seems about right, yeah.
I'm not we're on this podcast. I don't get paid for this, but I think that the times has changed maybe a little bit. You know, you got to get people to buy into your coaching style. And I still think that he's on the older spectrum of coaching, even though he got this championship with these kids. But, NFL is a little different.
All right. Good point on that, Tom. Let's cover the around this time, the elements. As we saw in Buffalo and Kansas City, the weather, cold front, cold chill, wind chill, snow.
Cracking helmets, bro. Helmets falling apart out there. You seen that?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's players been reported having frostbite in the Kansas City and Miami game. So I want to ask you guys, like, how much impact does it have on these games? And, like, should they really looking at domes? Is like people getting like elements from this as frostbite? Paul, what's your thoughts about this and the elements and this is bigger athletes? There's a lot of medical science now that's been advancing. So what's your thoughts about this whole?
There's enough out there that, those guys can stay warm on the sidelines. Like, I know it was really cold, but the elements are part of the home field advantage, right? So, I mean, if I'm Buffalo and I know it's going to be snowy and cold, and that's an advantage for me, I want to use that to my advantage. I practice in it. I play in it. One of the funnier sound bites was, I don't know if you saw, somebody was talking to Tampa Bay's head coach about playing in Detroit. And they're like, how are you guys preparing yourself for the cold? What are you guys going to do? It's going to be really cold. He said, they play in a dome.
I saw that.
Like, I don't gotta, like, what do you, like, it's only going to be cold for like 5 minutes from the bus to the locker room. And then they play in a temperature controlled dome. But, it's no different than Kansas City having like the loudest crowd in the league, right? They're going to be disruptive. They're going to affect cadences and snap counts and all that stuff. It's Miami's fault. Miami could have had home field.
No, yeah, you're right.
So,
yeah,
I mean, that game could have been in Miami in, 60-something degree weather. But, as far as people getting frostbite and stuff like that, I mean, that's just, I don't know if that's people just not preparing properly. People trying to be tough guys and not wear their Under Armour and their thermals and whatnot. But,
yeah,
there was 104 guys, 106 guys out there, all dealing with the same thing. So I think like the weather and those kind of things are advantages that teams have. Now, I don't think you can prepare for it to be negative 18 or whatever the hell it was in Kansas City, but at the end of the day, that's just part of the advantage you have. And they had the home field. And similar to Buffalo, I mean, they got that field cleaned up real nice. Like, I don't think the weather was necessarily a problem in Buffalo, as it was in Kansas City. But for me, that's just an advantage. If I know I have the elements on my side, I'm cool.
Tom, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, again, going back to what I said last week, I said they need to establish a run, and obviously, I think if you know anything about football and the elements, obviously definitely takes a toll on it. So if it's cold, if it's rainy, if it's windy, you got to establish a run, obviously, to push the ball. And one team did it better than the other. But also, like Paul said, like, you got to prepare for that. Like, I saw a lot of guys out there with short sleeves and a lot of guys out there just looking like they were in a summer game. You know what I mean? Like the weather is real, especially when it's minus anything. You know what I mean? Like you've got to take care of your body and you got to take care of the ball as well, because I can only imagine that they had ball warmers, you know what I mean? Like putting them in bags and stuff like that. But when that ball hits that air, it's like a brick. Y'all saw it, like you said, with Patrick's helmet. That's all to do with the cold, man. As soon as you freeze something, or as soon as it gets cold enough, it's gonna crack like some ice, man. Like them dudes just, I don't think they were prepared. Miami wasn't prepared for it. Tua played a good game. Tyreek did what he did, you know what I mean? And I can't even say that Tyreek was used to the weather. He just played his game, you know what I mean? He got open when he could. You know, he ran as fast as he could. But to y'all point, man, that weather definitely makes a difference, man, because you got to think, if it was warmer, Tyreek probably would have had 4 or 5 more catches. Tua would have had more long balls. The kicks wouldn't have been so flat. You know what I mean? It definitely takes a toll on the game, man.
Yeah. Nah, I'm just curious. Just the whole elements there like that. There anything y'all thought of? But nah, hey, y'all absolutely right. Mind control their own destiny and lost the game. So that's on them. So it is what it is, you know. All right. So Paul, before we go into breaking down the conference, let's go ahead and get into Paul's this guy's stank meter. So I'm gonna let you take over, man. Do your thing, bro.
Stank meter.
This is just dedicated to one man and one man only, and that's Mr. Dak Prescott. Shout out to playoff Dak Prescott. The guy was an MVP candidate all year long. Everybody was hyping up old Dak. He was throwing the ball all over everybody. He was putting up crazy numbers, him and CeeDee Lamb, all season. And then his last game of the year, he throws 60 pass attempts for 400 and how many yards? 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 bad interceptions that just put them in a hole that they couldn't fight themselves out of. And I know he came out in the press conference and he said it himself. He said, I stunk today. So kudos to Dak. But on that note, I do have a list here of active NFL quarterbacks with more playoff wins than Dak Prescott.
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun.
My man Dak, 7 career playoff games, 2 victories. Ryan Tannehill, 5 career playoff games, 2 victories. Gardner Minshew, he's got 2 playoff victories. Taysom Hill, he's got 3. And he's not even a starting quarterback. He just plays sometimes.
Did you just call him Tasty Hill?
I did.
You said Tasty Hill.
That's right.
Jesus.
Jared Goff, 7 playoff games, 4 wins. Jimmy Garoppolo, 7 playoff games, 5 wins.
Wow.
Josh Allen, 5 games, 7 games, 9 games, 5 wins. Russell Wilson, 16, 9 wins. Joe Flacco, 16, 10 wins. Aaron Rodgers, 22 and 12. And then Patrick Mahomes leads the way at 15 career playoff games, 12 wins. But Jordan Love is now 1-1. So he's halfway to Dak Prescott. And now doesn't Blake Bortles have more wins than Dak Prescott? He's not an active player. I only went for active players.
Oh, you went for active. He said active.
Oh, my bad.
But the kicker now is my dog Baker Mayfield has 3 playoff starts.
Bro, let's skip that. Let's skip over that.
So Baker Mayfield has the same amount of playoff wins as Dak Prescott.
Let me ask you this question, Paul, and there's no shot. I swear to God, this is no shot. Doesn't what's his name? Daniel Jones. Does he have a playoff win?
No.
Oh, my bad.
There was
though. And that was no shot. That was no shot. I like him.
This ain't about Daniel Jones. That guy stinks too.
Well, no.
He'll get his own.
I was just trying to find. I like Daniel Jones better than I like Dak Prescott. So I was just trying to find more people that had more or halfway to Dak Prescott's, lineage, if you want to call it, or bullshit.
No. But the key is just that Dak Prescott's been there for a real long time, and Dallas winning is so important to the Dallas Cowboys franchise. And your starting quarterback has now played 7 career playoff games and has only won 2 of them.
So when do you get rid of him, Paul Mack?
I think he's got something on Jerry Jones. I don't know, because that man ain't it. And I know they brought in Trey Lance, so he's going to be a young eager cat to try to maybe take that spot or whatever. But the crazy thing is, Dak has had pretty much like 2 coaches his whole career. He had Jason Garrett for a while, and now he's had Mike McCarthy. Baker Mayfield's had 8 different head coaches in his career. 2 playoff wins. So someone's got to figure it out.
Paul.
Dak ain't it. And in honor of Dak Prescott doing Dak Prescott things.
Let's hear the sound bit.
That's all I gotta say for Dak Prescott. So
Tom stored it.
Thank you.
Tom stored it.
Thank you, Green Bay Packers. America.
All right, man. Megger's team goes down. So
Cortez, I'm sorry. You got to stop referring to those boys as America's team, bro.
This is what the people say, bro.
It ain't him, man.
No, it's not what the people say. I'm not saying that. I'm a part of the people. Does my peopleness matter?
I'm an American, and they ain't my team.
We the people. Exactly.
All right.
Correct that shit.
My bad, guys.
Boss?
My bad. Well, I guess America's team now is Detroit. I don't know.
There we go.
All right, I'm just kidding. All right, let's move in and let's break down the NFL divisional round. So we are gearing up for another crazy week of football coming up. This is the great time of just football around this time for the 8 teams that are left. So we're gonna go into the NFC first, and we're gonna dive into the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. Paul, what are some of your storylines coming out of this game?
Well, for one, the Niners rested a lot of guys in Week 18. They had a bye week, so they should be healthy, which we've seen a healthy 49er team earlier on in the season. We've seen a healthy Christian McCaffrey, a healthy Brock Purdy, a healthy Deebo Samuel, all those guys. And, you can only slay Goliath so many times if you're the Green Bay Packers. But the thing about it is they're playing with house money, and those are always the scarier situations is a team going in there with potentially no shot. But the Niners defense is nasty. Fred Warner's all over the field. They're going to have a real hard time stopping Christian McCaffrey. I expect George Kittle getting some big ones down the middle. So for me, Green Bay just has to try to keep running the ball with Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon didn't even play last week, so I don't know if he's hurt or what his deal is, but they're going to need 2 healthy backs to be able to try to control this clock. But a healthy 49er team, this can get ugly early, real fast.
Yeah, for sure. What's some of your storylines from you, Tom, coming out this game between these 2 teams?
Well, let me just go back on the record saying that when I said San Francisco was the best team in the league, you guys turned your nose up to me. I don't think y'all remember that episode. And y'all was like, I don't believe it. They lost 3 in a row. Y'all don't remember that?
We remember you chatting about that, yeah.
No. Y'all don't remember y'all telling me I was crazy and they was bums and all that good stuff? I said they was the best team in the league.
It's a lot of football to be played, man. But hey, listen, they are one of the best for sure.
They got so many weapons. Again, there's on either side of the ball, man. They're really good. I mean, they got that boy from the Commanders. and
Chase Young.
Yeah, they got Chase Young, and that defense is stepping up, man. Defense won championships. As a kid, I didn't agree with it because I was naive to the fact because let's face it, we love offense.
They're the ones that get paid. They get paid the big bucks. Those guys.
Yeah. But there's nobody on that offensive side that you can stop really and clamp down. It's happened once or twice. But that's any given Sunday. That's what football. But like I said early on in the season, man, they're the best team in the league, man. Like Baltimore, yeah, in the AFC, they're the best in the AFC. But again, San Francisco is the best in the league. They got everything. You know what I mean? Like, just to break it down in layman's terms, like they have everything. There's no way you can stop them. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to tell you guys this, and this is just my opinion. Brock Purdy is the only guy on that team that I feel that this thing got that heat. Like he just has weapons. I think you could put most quarterbacks in that situation, and they're going to be proficient. You know what I mean?
Somewhat competent, right?
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm not shitting on Brock Purdy or nothing like that, but I just I just feel like he's in a situation where he thrives. You know what I mean? Like you put him on a team that maybe doesn't have as many weapons as he does. Who knows? You could put a Dak Prescott on that team, and Dak Prescott would probably be looking just like Brock Purdy, or even better. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry I brought up Dak Prescott's name. My bad. But they look good, bro. They're definitely gonna. I can't say definitely because, like I said, any given game, but I'm picking them to go to the Super Bowl.
All right. Some of my storylines out of this is obviously the Packers is on a roll. They're on a 4-game streak, including the playoffs. So they're really just finding their gear right now. And they come against this 49ers team that is top 3 in offense and defense scoring.
And defensive scoring.
Yeah. So that's just crazy just to see that matchup there, how that's going to play out. It's always fun to see a team that's come in hot versus a team that has done pretty well. So 49ers
Can I say one more thing, Cortez? I think that quarterback matchup is evenly matched. You know what I mean? And honestly, I like Jordan Love better.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have as many weapons as Brock Purdy does, but that boy can ball. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see.
So, Tom, let me ask you this. I'm gonna dive in a couple of strategies for these teams here. Something that each team can expose. So, for the 49ers, man, when they have 2+ turnovers in this regular season, they have a 1-3 record. So, what is some things that you see the 49ers or Green Bay needs to do as far as like trying to get them to turn over the ball, as far as like their offense? Brock Purdy, Chris McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. What's some of the things that you need to see for them to kind of press them and get some turnovers?
Blitz, man. Like I just said. Again, Brock Purdy, I don't think he's the best. Once you start putting pressure on that man, I think he'll turn that ball over. You know what I mean? Like you got to get to that ball to disrupt in that pocket for him to kind of like mess up, as we could say. You know what I mean? And again, but he has so many weapons where he could just dump it out to the flats to Christian McCaffrey. You got Brandon Ayuk that comes over the middle. You got a lot of stuff. So he looks good because he can just throw anything up in the air and somebody catch it. Green Bay has to put pressure on that ball up front. Make Brock Purdy cough that thing up, baby.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Green Bay has kind of been weak at.
Exactly.
They have 18 takeaways for the season. Top for like 23rd. So, but they had 2 against Dallas. Dallas was putting them up there, and they was taking advantage of there. So they just got to be opportunistic against them.
Yeah,
and really try to find some turnovers. Paul, let me ask you about this. Go ahead, Thomas.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to reiterate what you said against Cowboys. They just had 2 to the house on defensive turnovers. That's what I was going to say, but they got to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just got to find a way to really apply some pressure on them and get some turnover for a team that's not really good on turns in the regular season. So, Paul, Brock Purdy, as we talked about, this dude's having a fantastic season. 69% completion ratio. He's 31 touchdowns. Has a pass rate number 1 in the NFL with 110. What's some things that you need to see for Brock Purdy to take advantage of this Green Bay team and try to get the ball moving down the field?
I think for Brock Purdy, it's going to be like we saw when they played Baltimore. So he's not going to necessarily get the pressure he got against Baltimore. So he has to just make the right play. Don't try to throw it if it's not there. Throw it out of bounds. Take a sack if you have to. But for Brock Purdy, it's just going to be very meticulous. Just manage the game. You got all the playmakers around you. He has to just manage the game. If he can manage the game, dump it out to McCaffrey, hit Kittle down the seam. You get it in the hands of Debo and Ayuk. Let them do what they do. The Niners will be fine. They're going to get a lot of possessions because I imagine, Green Bay potentially won't be on the field for very long with that number 3 ranked scoring defense. So it's just don't give them extra possessions. You're gonna have a heavy dose of Christian McCaffrey early. I'm sure they're going to try to establish the run early in that game, and that always helps Brock Purdy get a rhythm. I don't think Brock Purdy is necessarily the kind of quarterback that's going to drop back 30 times and sling it all over the field. They have to get Christian McCaffrey going, and as Christian McCaffrey gets going, then Brock Purdy gets going because it opens up the whole rest of the field. Once they start to come down in the box, start to crowd the line of scrimmage, then that opens up those deep balls down the middle. George Kittle, real explosive up, down the seam. You could throw screens and stuff like that. So for me, it's just Brock Purdy needs to just manage the game, and the Niners will be fine. He doesn't have to be the hero. He has a whole bunch of heroes around him. You don't got to be the hero.
Got you.
Paul Mack said they got to open up the middle and put deep balls down the middle. I was just
saying pause.
And I wasn't saying Paul. I was like, that's the way to go, especially on Saturday nights.
Tom, this one for you, man. So Green Bay offensive line, they allowed 30 sacks, which is 3rd best in the league. But they're going against this talented front of the 49ers. So what kind of things you can see there between that battle of the O-line versus that front 7 of the 49ers? What's your thoughts about that matchup?
Obviously, Green Bay got to stand their ground because you have a awesome running game on that 49ers side. They got a lot of plays that they can, they got a lot of, I don't want to call them trick plays, but they got a lot of run pass options. They got a lot of flea flickers, if you may. You got Brandon Ayuk that can come around the corner. You got Debo that can line up as a running back or split back or whatever. So they just got to stand their ground and not get pushed around by those trick plays, man. And that's what's going to come because these guys are pretty outstanding on that defensive line. So they got to have some schemes that get these guys off their game. And again, they have the personnel on the 49ers side to kind of take you out that game. You know what I mean? That run pass option is going to be crazy. You know what I mean? You got one of the best running backs in the league, and you have some of the best wide receivers in the league right now. So that's going to be their bread and butter. If they can establish that run really early, like he said, like Paul said, then you have that option because over the top, they got Kittle in the middle. So, there's no telling what these boys can do. So they got to stand their ground early. And it's going to come down to the linebackers. If they can hold the middle, hold these gaps so these run plays can't happen, and put some pressure to helping out these cornerbacks and these safeties.
Gotcha. Paul, there's any other strategy you'd like to discuss as far as the either team, 49ers or Green Bay, that they need to kind of hit on? Is it something that you kind of did your research on and find anything that's kind of intrigued you?
Green Bay is going to have to, say their prayers, drink their milk, and all that stuff because they're in for a tough one. A healthy 49er team off pretty much most of those guys have 2 weeks of rest. All things are looking like the 49ers getting kind of a freebie to the conference championship. So I'm more excited about some of these other games, but this game, I don't think it's close.
But Paul, do you think the rest could kind of be like an Achilles heel on them, like where they rest too much and these guys been playing and they're ready to work?
No, not at all. No, they're too well coached. I'm sure those guys were getting reps in at practice. They're fine. They weren't just sitting around doing nothing. They were just banged up, so they just didn't get any game time. But they're practicing. They're doing what they got to do. They're doing walkthroughs. They're fine. Those guys are literally just get them on the field, line them up. They'll do all the rest. They'll be all right.
Well, I'll say this. Listen, if Aaron Jones come out and run the ball like against Dallas, this game can be a close one. I know Aaron Jones had 110 yards in the last 4 games, but can he do it again against this defense? If he does, though, it'll be a fun one, but I don't think he got 110 rushing yards on him.
Cortez, I'm going to bring it back to last year with us playing the 49ers where we banged up their quarterbacks. Who do they got for backup? If it does happen, if Green Bay defense does get to Brock Purdy and they smash his ass, who they got?
Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's their backup.
But we're looking at the same kind of thing that we looked at last year, and the Eagles smacked their quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like, they got to be ready for that. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be ready for that secondary as well. You're like, we saw them run through the season, and then they got to the playoff game and got their ass torn up.
Yeah, but the Eagles defense last year was a different defense. They led the league in takeaways.
Compared to Green Bay,
but what we
y'all had a historic defense last year. Your defense was.
We did, but what did we just say about Green Bay's front line?
Yeah,
they're great. If they can get to Brock Purdy enough and punish his ass, they got to be ready for something.
Well, see, that's why my X factor has got to be not AJ. I'm sorry. It's got to be Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones got to extend this. He's got to have time possession. It's got to be on him. Romeo Dobbs had a fantastic game too. So once you open that running game, you go to Romeo Dobbs and maybe Christian Washington's feeling a little bit better. I know he came back from injury. So like, it's one of those things that they have to get the running game going against San Francisco to even have a chance against them. They neutralize the run and get into these 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 situations, and you putting them this young team against that talented defense on there. It's gonna be a long night, man. But that's what I'm saying. It's if Aaron Jones, you saw the recipe. If you get 110 yards rushing, the 49ers in a dogfight. They hold them under 75 yards, and it's
but I think the recipe
for the 49ers.
I think the recipe was that defense, man. They made Dak cough that shit up twice for 2 scores.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's that recipe right there. You know what I mean? They got to get to that quarterback.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. So
Trent
asking that question.
Trent Williams ain't letting nobody get near Brock Purdy. Don't worry about that. Trent Williams ain't letting nobody get near my guy.
Hey, listen, that Escalade not letting anybody get that Hyundai Elantra. I'm just kidding about Purdy. All right. Who wins? Who wins? We already know Paul chose the 49ers, right? So who you got winning time?
I'm going 49ers as well.
Same 49ers. I know we entertained the what ifs and everything like that, but
yeah.
49ers should dominate this game. So
this wouldn't be a podcast that we can't entertain the other side of the ball.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. We throw all these different scenarios out here, man. We just making people think outside the box.
There's some Earth in our multiverse where Green Bay wins this game.
Yeah.
It just might be Earth 1747 or something like that. Earth 1738.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Good stuff. So let's go on to the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Detroit Lions.
They lose.
Which one?
You know who I'm talking about. The goddamn Buccaneers lose.
I know. Listen. All right. So what's your storyline coming out this one, Tom? What's the storyline for you?
They're not that good, man. My Eagles look trash. We play like trash. And I said that we didn't deserve to win, and we didn't win. Of course, I'm a fan, so I wanted to win. But the Buccaneers ain't all that good, man. Cut it out. Like, They were 9-8 going into the playoffs. They won by the skin of their teeth. They was in a trash division. And if they do win, they win. It's football. It can happen. But against the Detroit Lions, come on, bro. It's not happening.
Your storylines for this game?
It's gonna be Detroit's pass defense. You know, a lot of weapons on Tampa Bay's side. You know, they like to stretch the field. And it's just, is Baker gonna keep being this Baker Mayfield? You know, obviously for the Lions, they had success running the ball last week, kind of took some pressure off of Jared Goff, but they just had a nail biter against the Rams that could have went either way. And they gave up some big plays to Puka Nacua. You know, Matt Stafford was throwing the ball all over the yard. Higbee was having a great game till he got hurt. So they're susceptible on the passing side of the defense. So, you know, in those one-on-one matchups with Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, you know, those guys could have some problems just keeping the quarterback protected, giving him time to throw those balls. But, you know, I mean,
Paul, you said they have a lot. You said they had a lot of weapons on the offensive side. Tampa.
Yeah.
Who?
I wouldn't want to go up against Chris Godwin,
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rasheed Wright.
Yeah, that's it.
They got to let that.
That's not a lot.
That's fine.
That's only 3.
What?
Most teams have 2 or 3.
And they got 2 or 3. They'll be all right.
They still got to have a quarterback that's good.
Listen,
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield. What time do the Eagles play on Sunday?
Bro, the same time as the Giants.
That's fine. Hey, it's whatever. I'm just saying.
Nah, but listen.
Tom, you got to think about this. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did we think the Bucs was a playoff team to start the year? I think a lot of us didn't think the Bucs was the bottom of the barrel. For them to be here, Baker Mayfield has some part of that.
So again, like, I understand that, and I'm not negating the fact that they played a shitty Eagles team at the end of the year. But if they played a better team, they wasn't going to win, bro. Like, they got there by the skin of their teeth.
That's all it takes.
But they got there.
You just got to get in.
That's all it takes. But you're saying they got.
Most people didn't think they was going to get 9 wins. They got 9 wins. Most people think they was going to get 4 wins. I got to credit to where it dues, man. The Bucs won the games. They won the games. Like, and Baker Mayfield is a part of that.
I get that. But you're saying they're weapons. They are players that is winning games.
Evans is not a
that's
weapon.
Mike Evans. Mike Evans is definitely a weapon. Chris Godwin. And that's it.
They got some good tight ends too. I don't watch the Bucs like that, but I'm blanking on their tight end. Their tight end is a rookie that was been pretty good either. Like,
I would say, bro. I would say they're a team that's grinding it out. Their run defense
is good too. Their run defense is amazing.
I would say they're a team that's grinding it out.
That's all you got to do, man.
That's all you got to do.
You got to get in the
Bucs won these games.
But I can't sit here and be like, oh, they got weapons and their team is grinding out. And if they win, I would like to see them win. Cause I like underdogs. I can't sit here and say they got weapons and they like that.
Bruh. All right. Listen, man. I'm giving the Bucs credit, man, because none of us had the Bucs here. No one on this show did not have the Bucs being in the second round of the NFL playoffs. We all thought Bucs was in the Mike Williams sweepstakes. We thought they was going to drive another quarterback, and Baker Mayfield was just a stopgap guy.
We thought Todd Bowles had his resume on LinkedIn or Indeed or something. We thought Todd Bowles was gone.
I'm not disagreeing with none of that.
Guys to be here is crazy, though.
I'm not disagreeing with none of that. I'm just not saying that this team is that tight. They just here right now.
You making me defend the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. I hate myself.
I know that. And that's the problem that I'm having right now. You defending the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm defending the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is crazy. None of us
because they made it. It's fine.
Yeah,
they're in the playoff. I'm not negating that fact. I keep telling you that.
They had some big wins during the season too. Bro, like they
got some quality wins.
Yeah, they got some quality wins, man. And Mike Evans still had over 1,000 yards. Chris Godwin had over 1,000 yards. Someone got to give him the ball. I saw clearly the quarterback that I have in the Broncos.
Again,
that can't get the ball.
That's only 2 guys on that team we talking about.
Give me Chris Godwin and Mike Evans in the Broncos uniform. See what I do.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's only those 2 we talking about right now.
and you see you lost your weapon, what happened? That's what I'm saying. They took advantage of opportunities, bro. Like
again, and I said they played a shitty ass Eagles team.
Let's get into it, man.
It's a hot take, Tom.
This is super hot take.
Put some respect. Right. Put some respect on Baker Mayfield and Tampa.
Yeah, come on, bro. Baker Mayfield. Hey, let Baker cook, bro.
Hey, no, let him bake. Let him bake real slow. Let him bake.
Storylines for me is the Lions in their first divisional game since 1991. I was 6 years old. 1991. This is how long the Lions been in a divisional round. Yeah. 3 match from week 6. Different teams, obviously, but the Lions won 20-6, and Goff took off for 353 yards and had 2 touchdowns in that game. Obviously, regular season to postseason now, a lot of things change. So this is where we're at now. Paul, what? Let me talk to me about Jared Goff, man. This is a guy that had 30 touchdowns, his 4th in NFL season. And he had a 97 QBR rating. So talk to me about Jared Goff and his importance to what he has led this team and the weapon that he got around him.
I mean, same thing, right? I mean, he's only got Amon St. Brown and then the emergence of Sam Laporta at tight end.
Yep.
Who had a huge game last week. We weren't sure if he was going to play or not, but he had a huge game. Then you have 2 strong running backs. You got David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibb. So that's the thing there is Goff doesn't necessarily have to do anything too crazy. Establish the run, get it out to Jahmyr Gibbs, let him kind of catch some in the flat, let him get out there, let him get one-on-one, and then it opens up the field for St. Brown to make those big plays down the field. It's, he was a guy that, he kind of got blackballed out of the Rams. They thought he wasn't going to be good enough, thought he made bad decisions. And, you put him with a coach and a team that believes in him, in a city that believes in him, and crazy things happen. That's kind of like what's happening with Baker Mayfield right now. Tampa Bay believes Baker Mayfield's their guy. When Baker Mayfield has that swagger, anything could happen, man. So for me, Jared Goff is very similar. When the team has a swag behind them and, they have that dog mentality and they're not sitting here, doing anything crazy, just use the pieces that you have. Jared Goff's not a bad quarterback. He fits the profile of kind of like the ideal NFL quarterback. He can run a little bit. He used to make some bad throws. You limit the bad throws. You give him a sure shot tight end to cover the middle of the field, and then you give him a nice threat on the outside. That's the blueprint in today's NFL. You have running backs that can catch out of the backfield. You have a nice strong tight end over the middle, and then that opens up all the rest. So you don't need a whole lot. You don't need 2 or 3 weapons. I mean, look at Green Bay. Green Bay, they're here, and you couldn't name an offensive player besides Jordan Love and Aaron Jones, I guess AJ Dillon, but you couldn't name any of their wide receivers, not one. And I don't even know who their tight end is.
So tight end, all I know is Christian Washington, the big play guy.
Yeah, so I mean,
and then Romeo Doubs took off, but like I said, like you said, without research, I'm like, all I knew was Christian Washington before.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you saw him in a lineup, you wouldn't know who they played for. So it's just about how they play together, how the scheme works out, how the matchups work out. And if I'm the Detroit Lions after what the Rams offense did to that defense, I'd be a little scared to go up against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So, it's going to be control time possession. Try to get pressure on Baker Mayfield. Try to get him to turn the ball over because he's susceptible to turning the ball over. If the Lions can force some turnovers, they're in a good spot. But the way Tampa's playing, this is a coin flip game for me. Like I don't even know. I guess you could edge Detroit because they got home field, but I'm interested to watch this one for sure.
Yeah, Paul, to add to your point, the Lions passing D allowed 7.8 yards per attempt. That's 31st in the league. So, Tom, I'm gonna ask you this question here: the Bucs had the 3rd highest blitz rate in the league. Jared Goff against the blitz, he has thrown 6 interceptions, which is the 2nd most. Oddly enough, he also got 13 touchdowns versus a blitz, which is the 3rd most in the NFL. Can you make sense of that stat for me? Jared Goff that leads the touchdowns and interception and blitz. and the Bucs like the blitz. What do you see out of that stat there?
I'm gonna go back to the last game. That man was 22 or 27, no interceptions. He had one or two passing touchdowns. Can I say the Bucs are better than the Rams? I don't know. To your point, and not even, man. I think it's another even matchup because you got Cooper Kupp on one side of the ball, then you had Mike Evans on the other side of the ball. So they got weapons everywhere. Against the team that they're playing. But I think these boys are on the high, man. How many years? 31 years without getting to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to your fact, I can't even say, bro. Like, it's in-game situation that he's playing, right? So this game, he just played a good. I can't even say the Rams is a good run defense. I really don't know the stats, but I know they got some good linebackers. So he was getting that ball off pretty quick once I watched it. Again, he was just making passes, man. I don't know if it was just him putting it on the dime or they were just catching everything that day. But the Lions was balling against that pressure. And again, I don't think Tampa is that good of a team. The Lions is a really good team. Like, they've been showing that all year. This is one of those cream of the crop teams that we knew was going to be, everybody talks shit about the Lions, but once they came down to the end, we knew they was going to be in the playoffs. We just didn't know how far they were going to kind of go. So now after, the first round, they're here.
Yeah.
And he's still looking good. Like I said, he completed most of his passes. He was 22 for 27.
Mm-hmm.
Dropbacks, pressure, no interceptions. He was looking great, man. Like, I think when he plays a team with that kind of soft defense over the middle, he's gonna eat them up all day. And I think Tampa is not. I don't think Tampa has that presence over the middle where Jared Goff will have that problem.
Yeah,
Levante David ain't terrible.
I'm not saying he's terrible, but again, Lions have weapons, like y'all said, and they use them quite a bit.
Well, here's the thing to your point, Tom. Didn't cut you off, but the Bucs secondary allows 248 yards passing per game. That's 29 in the NFL. You just mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown. That goes off. Sam Laporta that went off. Sam Laporta. And here's the thing: the Bucs are one of three teams that allowed 1,000 yards total for the season to tight ends. So you just talk about going across the middle, going with them short and medium routes. Sam Laporta should feast against the Bucs.
Exactly.
They don't guard tight ends well.
That's what they're going to eat, man. And I think I said it last time I was on. And if they try to get these wheel routes open, they're going to have to double Amon St. Brown outside. And that's going to do. That's going to leave that middle open for them goddamn tight ends to feast, bro. It's inevitable. You can't cover one of the best wide receivers in the league and not put two people on them and then not leave somebody open in the middle. It's just going to happen. I think they're going to eat on them. I think they're just going to – it's going to be – I can't say it's going to be a blowout, but I think it's going to be a pretty significant win. If not, I'm wrong. But that's just my opinion.
Paul, who's your S factor for the Bucs?
I think Mike Evans needs to show out and have a big game. I know he's got a contract situation he needs to do, and he needs to show Tampa Bay that he wants to be there long term, that he wants to retire Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He's going to help Baker Mayfield out a lot. So just throw the ball to Mike Evans. Just give him some targets, give him an opportunity to catch the ball. And that's going to open it up for other guys. It'll open up the run a little bit with Rashid White. But for me, it's got to be Mike Evans. He's got to want the ball right now. He has to feel like he's the best player on the field between the Bucs offense and the Lions defense. And, when you have that mentality, that's kind of what you want. So he has to know every play, no plays off. He got to play hard, and they got to get him probably 10, 12 targets probably. But, let that man do what he does. Just throw it up to him. Let him take advantage of mismatches. Put him in the slot. Put him outside. If they get in the red zone, you already know what play they're going to call. And, Big 13 is going to go out there and try to make some plays. There's a reason why he's never not had 1,000 yards in a season. But it's going to start with that, just establishing Mike Evans early. I think that'll get Baker in a rhythm. And then from there, it's just going to be, see what happens after that.
All right. And who we got to win this game, guys? Tom?
I'm going Lions.
Paul?
I'm gonna roll with Tampa. I'm gonna roll Tampa.
I got the Lions winning by a touchdown. I think they can pull it out. I know Baker's been having one hell of a run, and he's been doing fantastic, but I think the buck stops here. So,
oh boy!
All right, enough of me trying. All right, sorry, Bucks fan. I got some Bucks Magic fans gonna be yelling at me. Oh, sorry. I know my Broncos suck. Just remind me on Twitter,
bro. Just take that energy that the Broncos have by losing, and just gear it towards them. Don't worry about that.
There you go. It's all love. All love. All right, let's hop into AFC. We're going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. It's a 6:30 game on Sunday on CBS. Paul, this game is probably going to be the fun one. I think the most watched one everybody wants to have when they circle here.
This is the one.
So tell me your storyline. What's some of your top storylines coming from out of this game?
Can the Bills get over the hump? Can they beat Kansas City? That's been the thing for years. It's been their kryptonite the last couple seasons. If they can get through Kansas City, they'll have something to worry about, with the winner of the Ravens-Texans game. But for me, it's can they get through Kansas City? Previously, they've had to go to Kansas City. They're at home game. I don't think the elements are really going to matter. Kansas City's used to playing in the cold. I don't know what the snow will be like, but the way Josh Allen's playing right now, he got something to prove. I know he had issues early on in the year with turnovers and different things, but the way the Chiefs offense is, aside from Isaiah Pacheco and Travis Kelce, obviously, but I think the Buffalo Bills are going to come out swinging, and they're going to try to put up points early. Similar to how they did against the Steelers. They went out against Pittsburgh and they scored early, and then they kind of just coasted the rest of the way. I think it's a similar mindset. Obviously, the Chiefs' pass rush could cause problems. So, we'll see how that goes. But, Chris Jones is going to be in Josh Allen's face often, probably. So, we'll see how it goes, man. I mean, they had speaking of tight ends, they had 2 different tight ends catch touchdowns last week. So, they have a rookie tight end, and then they got Dawson Knox. You have Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. So a lot of guys to get the ball to. It's going to be interesting for sure, just because I don't know who can make a play for Kansas City besides Travis Kelce when they need a play to be made. So this is honestly, though, on the flip side, though, this is one of the better defenses Kansas City has had. So we're used to Kansas City kind of going and winning these shootout games, and they don't really got to do that right now. So it's just a matter of can Buffalo put up the points early and put pressure on the Chiefs offense. We'll see.
Gotcha. Tom, some of your storylines for this matchup here?
My boy Paul Mac and Cheese, he does this for a reason. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. I'm going off his coattail. He kind of said it right. I think these teams are very evenly matched. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the only factor in this game that I think that's going to be the difference maker is what version of Patrick Mahomes we get. If we get the phenomenal Patrick Mahomes, or we get the hurt Patrick Mahomes, and he still be winning when he hurt. You know what I mean? Like, that dude's a beast. and there's no shade to Buffalo, but Patrick Mahomes is that man. You know what I mean? Like, he just finds a way to do it. And again, like I said, I'm gonna piggyback on Paul. Like, if the Bills can find that way and grind this game out, they might just win. Because their quarterback can run, he can scramble, he can throw the ball. He's got weapons all over the place. It's pretty evenly matched, in my opinion. They both come from cold weather. So the elements, like Paul said, ain't gonna be no factor. It's gonna be a slugfest, man. But
yeah,
Patrick Mahomes is that guy. Like I keep saying, man, he's that modern day juggernaut, man. Not to say Josh Allen isn't, but Patrick Mahomes just has that little edge over him, and I think that's gonna be the outcome, man. I think Patrick Mahomes is just gonna have that little that fist up, man. I think he's gonna win. I mean, just watching him, man, he's a killer. He's an assassin. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't matter what level of game, what who he has playing. As you can see, Tyreek Hill's not there. He's still been finding a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just been battling, man. I just think Patrick Mahomes is that X factor, even though you didn't ask that, but I think it's going to be up to him.
Okay. Yeah. Pat Mahomes is got 27 touchdowns for the season, and he leads the NFL in first on all scrambles. So that tell you how vital he is when he got the ball in his hand and trying to, when the play breaks down, he can make a play happen. So
it makes it happen.
Yeah. But the Bills storyline is, from where they came from. Now they ripped off 6 in a row, and they was able to get, home field advantage for their time being. Same that y'all mentioned, I echo the same thing with Pat Mahomes being 2-0 versus Bills in the playoffs, even though they was at Arrowhead. So it'd be interesting to see how Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs in general just kind of react to a hostile crowd. We know how the Bills Mafia get, jump through tables and -degree weather. They're just nuts out there in Buffalo, New York. So, but this is a fun matchup, man. This is a one of those kind of matchups where, listen, this for the Bills, and this is my storyline, for the Bills to get what they need to get to and eventually want to get a Super Bowl. It's funny how this story read itself. You got to beat the team that beat you the last 2 times.
You got to get to the Chiefs.
This is perfect. Like, for the storyline for me, this just read itself. Like, you trying to get to where you want to be, but you got to go through Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to do it. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs has not been looking like their selves on offense. We admit that their defense has been fantastic. So there just can't be a better storyline than that. And if somehow the Bills come and win the Super Bowl this year, we will reference this game. Like, this is going to be the game that everybody going to be referencing. So, like, this is so.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cortez. Them goddamn Ravens over there.
I know. Listen, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is. I'm just thinking of a storyline right now. Yeah, I know they gotta go through the Ravens eventually. We will get to the Ravens, but this is the thorn on the Bills' backside. The Bills have not gone places because of the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, it's the divisional round.
I think the whole AFC can say the same. I think the whole AFC can say the same shit,
except for the Bengals. The Bengals have beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Everybody else has not beat the Chiefs.
But where the Bengals ever?
The Bills.
But where have the Bengals been?
I know, but I'm just saying, like, Joe Burrow has played well.
They were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. They played.
Paul, no, you're right.
Yeah, I'm just saying about the storyline. Josh Allen is being, and same thing with Lamar Jackson. We'll get to eventually. This storyline is just perfect, man. Like, it's perfect because if it happens the way that the Bills fans and the Bills franchise and the Bills, anybody else, the way it happens, they have to get through Goliath, which is Patrick Mahomes to them. You can't ask for a Barry storyline. This is fantastic here. The NFL live on this stuff. This is like beautiful storyline right here. And the fact that you got home field advantage to do it, and if the Bills lose this game, man, I'm telling you, listen, people gonna be out for the woodworks with Josh Allen and the Bills. They're gonna be after him. They're gonna be after him. There's gonna be so much. This team has the most pressure, and they have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This team has the most pressure.
This is one of those blow it up kind of games for Buffalo, man. If they can't do it this year,
this is it.
You're gonna blow it up. Stephon Diggs isn't gonna be happy. It's gonna be ugly for sure. So this is one of those where everything's kind of lined up for Buffalo to be at home versus Kansas City. Kansas City ain't the same Kansas City. It's like when the bully picks on you all year, and then over the summer you get a little big. And you get to go.
You ready to test yourself?
You get to go bull him back. That's what we're seeing right here.
So you gonna win the fight, or it's gonna be the same result again?
I was about to say
it's gonna be the same result again.
What happens if
come on,
what happens when that bully catches that punch in the hand and then throw your ass in the garbage can?
Well, you know what I mean?
Like, then it's it.
Kansas City has always owned Buffalo Bills. This is why it made this beautiful. This will make this beautiful here. This storyline here.
There's no Doyle rules over here. They're ready to.
When you going off the clip?
Yep, they're ready to get him. They're ready to get him.
Nah, man. Honestly, man, I don't know, man. Like, the hype obviously is because there's no more Patriots. You know what I mean? So I think it negates back to these two teams, kind of like the teams that kind of were the runner-ups last couple of years in the AFC, or the last few years since Tom Brady left. I still think Patrick Mahomes is that man, and he's gonna go ahead and grab that again, bro. Let me have that. Let me have it. If the Bills win, again, like I said, they're almost evenly matched, but like I think Patrick Mahomes is just, and that, like I said, it's just my opinion. I just think he's that man in the league that you gotta deal with. You know what I mean? Like you got to go through him.
Tom, but if the Bills lose this game, all these other 4 games that are played, okay, yeah, Baltimore get upset possibly. That like we're just saying. Or maybe the 49ers get just upset because, this team is on a run. This is the team that puts you out, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. I get it.
We're going to hear the end of this if the Buffalo Bills lose this game. There's going to be countless. Everybody's going to be talking about this more than any other game. If any of these teams get upset, I bet they talk about Buffalo Bills more about losing to Kansas City because how Pat Mahomes owned him.
I believe it.
I'm just calling it, bro. I'm just calling it. Like I think it's crazy.
I believe it, but me, I'm just a little different. I just believe that they were going to lose anyway. So,
okay, fair enough.
If they win, I'll be surprised.
All right. Paul, so you mentioned about the Chiefs defense. Their pass rush has got 57 sacks on the season, which is second best in NFL. Quarterback hits is also second in NFL. George Kalafis and Chris Jones has 10.5 sacks each. They got to get the big boy Josh. And Josh Allen and his offensive line, they hold up pretty well, man. They're one of the better offensive lines in the league. I think they're third best from my notes that I got here with them. So talk to me about that matchup between that Chiefs pass rush and the Bills offensive line. What's some things that some of this Chiefs pass rush got to do to try to get down Josh Allen, which is a tough task?
I think the difference is Josh Allen, he ain't afraid to run. So that's the difference. If you're going to pressure Josh Allen, you better get to Josh Allen because if he breaks contain outside, it's 30 or 40 yards down the field, or someone's going to get open. So that's the thing is he's almost more dangerous outside of the pocket, especially this year. He's running the ball really well this year. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he is a key part to that run game because obviously, they have like the oldest running back core in the league. I mean, who's their starter running back? Cook?
Yeah, James Cook.
Yeah,
James Cook. So I mean, they signed Leonard Fournette for this exact reason. Where's playoff Lenny at? Is playoff Lenny going to play? My man's ready to go, but Josh Allen, I mean, he's running for 40, 60 yards a game, sometimes more than that. Just adds a level. So if they can't get him, if they can't get through the middle and get him before he breaks out of the pocket, I think it could kind of be a curse thing for the Chiefs, because sometimes I feel like Buffalo might just let them get through to just break contain and then let Josh Allen just do what Josh Allen does. Now, that being said, he is prone to fumbles. So if you can hit him, I guess the key would be just hit Josh Allen as much as humanly possible. Just hit him early, hit him often, hit him. If he's sliding, jump on him, just do something. Let him know that, you're coming for him. But his legs this year, he had a huge run against the Steelers. I mean, it's so dynamic that I don't think it's going to necessarily matter. He's more likely to throw an interception just trying to make a play than I think he would if you just try to sack him or pressure him. But this is the Bills' time. They shouldn't have been here. They were dead 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now they got a shot at getting back to the AFC Championship once again. So I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to see what the Chiefs got. I'm excited to see what Patrick Mahomes got. I'm excited to see who shows up to that game. But for me, if you're Buffalo, you have to get Pacheco out of the game. You can't let him establish a run like he did against Miami, because Pacheco ran the ball down Miami's throat.
Yeah.
And Mahomes didn't have to do a whole lot. And when you have your running back doing that, it opens it up. So if they could slow down Pacheco and force Mahomes to throw, who's going to make the play for Kansas City? Obviously, we know about Travis Kelce, but who else is going to make a play? Valdez-Scantling? Who's going to beat you?
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney? Who are you gonna let beat you on the outside? So there's no one on the outside that should scare them. And Jordan Poyer and those safeties should have the middle of the field locked down to kind of watch Travis Kelce a little bit. So all things are lining up for Buffalo like they haven't in previous seasons to win this game. So part of me wants Buffalo to win, but also there's a part of me wants Buffalo to lose because I want to see the offseason and what happens to that team. I imagine it's not the same team next year if they can't get to Kansas City this time.
Gotcha. Tom, I'm going to ask you this. Both quarterbacks, most interceptions in their career. Josh Allen has 18 interceptions and Pat Mahomes have 14. They've been turning the ball crazy here. So what must it take for these guys to play near turnover-less football, especially in the conditions and stuff like that, not turning the ball and fumbling or interception? What's your take on these two quarterbacks with their interception this year, and what they must do to kind of get that under control against this game?
Well, I don't think either one of them got to worry about conditions because, like I said, they both come from harsh weather. The Bills just had to postpone the game because of the weather that they have. And then you had the Chiefs with a negative 77,000 degrees. So the conditions, they both know how to play. I think the Chiefs defense is ranked top 5 in the league, right? I think they're pretty high up there. Josh, I think they might be ranked number 2 or 3, to be honest with you, in the season. And so Josh Allen really has to figure out a way to be one of the best defenses in the league. You know what I mean? How do you do that? Like Paul said, they have a running back core that's pretty old. I think Cook is only 24 years old, and he's coming along in the league pretty well. But Stephon Diggs, you already know what he's going to do. And then, you got a couple other players over there that do certain things that you can kind of gear up for as far as watching film and shit like that. But again, I go back to Pat Mahomes. There's only so much film you can watch on a dude that can just make plays out of no way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, again, the defense is really, really good. Then you got Pacheco that's, like Paul said, running that goddamn throat. Pause. I'm sorry. Running that ball down their throat. He's running like a fucking maniac. You know what I mean? It's really freaking hard to say with these two teams. You know what I mean? It's one of those games where it's I wouldn't put my money on neither one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh. They both got to figure out a way to just fucking win. You know what I mean? But again, on the Bills side, they got to figure out a way to stop Patrick Mahomes and all his little quirky shit that he does. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to make it seem like he's, the cream of the crop or the best in sliced bread, but you got to deal with that, man. I done seen him do it to many other teams, man. And like I keep saying, that they're pretty evenly matched. And just that X factor is that guy right there on the other side of the ball, Pat Mahomes, man.
No doubt.
No doubt. Also with one of the better defenses. So, it's hard to say, man.
You just got to keep an eye on this Stephon Diggs and L'Jarius Sneed matchup. Like I said, Sneed has held these receivers whenever a quarterback thrown their way, 55 pass rating for him. So Stephon Diggs got his work cut out for him. L'Jarius Sneed is one of the better young corners in the league. So it's going to be, that's one of my S factors there. He's going to play against one of the best receivers. As long as you don't get him under control and force Josh Allen to go another way.
A lot of penalties.
Yeah, it goes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of penalties, man. Even though the playoffs, they let these guys play, but I think that matchup right there is going to be a lot of them yellow things coming out.
Oh, yeah. I can see where you come from that perspective. So, all right, the burning question: who we got winning this game?
I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I know. I got Chiefs.
I got Buffalo winning. I think Buffalo finally get over the hump, but I'm really gonna be concerned. Like, I know Paul is saying that, hey, if they lose this game, there's gonna be significant changes because this is the team that you just can't get over. You have the perfect opportunity, Buffalo, Orchard Park. You gotta handle business. You just got to. This team, you gotta slay the dragon. You just got to.
So let me ask you a question: like, what are they gonna do if they do lose? Like, who they gonna let go? Player wise, they don't got nobody to let go.
I mean, in their regular losses this season, Stephon Diggs ain't been too happy.
No,
that guy wants to win, and if he just feels like he can't win, I think he'll try to find a way out.
It's gonna make a lot of noise. I agree.
And I mean, and he's one of the main ones. I mean, he's the one you got to worry about. He's Josh Allen's go-to guy, team captain, whole 9 yards. And if that guy is not happy, I mean, McDermott might be gone. I know they let their offensive coordinator go at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
So, we'll see. But something's got to change if they can't get over
I get it on the coaching side, but I'm talking about on the player side. Like, yeah, Stephon Diggs may, throw a fit, but what do wide receivers usually do? Throw fits, prima donnas. But him leave, who knows? But as far as anybody else leaving, they got nobody else to leave. You know what I mean? Like, coaching-wise, like I said, it's one thing, but, like, player-wise, they're going to have the same motherfucking team next year.
It's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of people making a lot of noise, and there's going to be a lot of noise. That's why I say you probably going to hear about some certain trade requests. This just me speculating, of course, but
me too. Me too.
Me too. Even dismantling the coaching staff, that's still huge.
No, I get it. I'm just saying from the player side of the thing.
Yeah, but even then, players, like you said last week, players are the players. That's similar to Russell Wilson. What's the players going to do? If they ain't happy, they're either in or they can kick rocks,
And it's gonna split the locker room. It's gonna be a lot of sides taken, and
the NFL ain't nothing's guaranteed in the NFL, man. You get your money when you sign your contract, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the last game: the Texans and the Ravens. Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Number 1 Baltimore C Ravens. So give me some storylines with this game. I'll start at you, Tom. What's some of the storylines you see out of this game with the Ravens and the Texans?
Can Lamar be a good passer? Can he pass? I think that's going to be pressed. That's going to be the issue. Well, not the issue. I think that's going to be a pressing issue because damn, I have my stats right here, but the Texans get after that damn ball. Yeah, Lamar is a great running quarterback, but them Texans are going to get after his ass. They're going to make him work that pocket or work that line and throw that ball. I'm not saying Lamar is not a good passer, but he's a run-first quarterback. We all know that. And C.J. Stroud could kind of be the same way. You know, that's what they got them legs for. That's what they're known for. But I still think Baltimore is not the best, but one of the best. Top two in the league is San Fran and then it's Baltimore. So they're going to figure out a way how to press these boys. You know what I mean? Like, again, you got to get C.J. Stroud's been playing amazing. Whether he gets flushed out, whether he's throwing a pass, it's like he can't do any wrong. You know what I mean? Like he's just been on point. But the Baltimore defense is gonna have to figure out a way to close that man out. You gotta get 3 downs and let them kick that ball. Because that man, he's pushing that ball down the field with his leg and his arm. Lamar can do it with his legs. He can do it a little bit with his arm, but I think C.J. Stroud got the upper hand, man, as far as, you know, both ways, throwing and running. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to make my pick just yet because, again, I don't know. This is going to be his first big boy game other than last week. But this is going to be his real test right here. And I don't think Lamar is going to try to lose, man. Like I've been saying, it's going to be a lot of changes in the NFL. And if Lamar loses this game here, they're going to be talking a lot about it as well.
Yeah.
You got the Houston Texans coming over there. And if they win, it's going to be like, is Lamar that guy? And I think it falls solely on that man right there.
Paul, some of your storylines?
These teams played in week 1. Baltimore won 24-7. Obviously, that was before this whole C.J. Stroud mania took over the league. You know, they're a different team than they were in week 1. But Baltimore is still a top-tier defense, and I think that's going to be enough to disrupt C.J. Stroud a little bit. I mean, he threw for 242 in week 1. Nico Collins had 80 yards receiving. But Lamar's been doing it with his arm all year. I mean, he hasn't really ran a whole lot. He's run when he has to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was a statement that Lamar Jackson was trying to make this season. Is like, look, I could throw, and I'm gonna throw. He had a couple games with a perfect quarterback rating. He could throw, and he's got guys around him that can make plays. That's why they brought in Odell Beckham Jr. They got Zay Flowers. You know, Mark Andrews went down, but Isaiah likely just slid right in, and he's a weapon over the middle. You know, they run the ball well. They control the field position. Like, that's the difference. Is Baltimore's a team that they're perfectly fine scoring 50, or if you want to play the 3 and out and punt, they'll play field position all day long. And Justin Tucker could just kick field goals for, 4 straight quarters. So for me, it's this is Lamar Jackson's time. This is all the MVP talk is, pretty much Lamar Jackson's to lose. I personally wanted to see C.J. Stroud make the playoffs to kind of see his story continue, because that kid is lights out on a Houston Texan team that on paper, Nico Collins is doing what he has to do, but I couldn't name another person on the Houston Texans offense. So for me, it's the Ravens' game to lose this one. I mean, they had the bye, they're at home. Lamar's rested, everything looks good for them. So we'll see what happens, because C.J. Stroud did throw all over him in week 1. That was week 1. This is a much better defense. Obviously, they added Roquan Smith.
Roquan Smith from the Bears, yep.
So they got him, after that game's over. They've been a lights out defense since acquiring Roquan Smith. So I think that adds another little wrinkle to the Ravens defense, but it'll be a true test for C.J. Stroud. We're going to see what C.J. Stroud's made of. He's going to get hit a lot, and he's going to have to just stand in there and take it. And we're going to see, what the rookie can do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Cortez. I want to go back because I just found what I was looking for. Lamar has, and to your point, Paul, Lamar, this is his most passing yards that he's had since he's been in the league. But it's almost his second highest sacks that he's had this year as well. And you know why? Because he's been passing. when he's moving them legs, you can't touch that man. When he's sitting in that pocket or he's passing more, they get to him easier. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think that they're gonna test that man on passing, but he's got to figure out a way to get like the happy medium with both. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna play a perfect game, but I think he has to figure that out.
I mean, he runs when he has to. I think he's just he's a lot more meticulous with when he runs.
Yeah, I know, but
which is saving him from injuries. It's doing things that are putting the team in a position to win football games. Because if he gets hurt,
but as you get older as a quarterback, as a running quarterback, you settle down a little bit. But he's had the second most sacks. He had 37 sacks this year. The first highest is 38. And that was the other year that he had some of the highest passing yards that he's had.
But that's the difference, though, is most seasons he maybe won't get sacked as much. And then the criticism he relies on his legs too much. I think he literally came out this season and he's going to show you, look, I can be a quarterback in the National Football League. I can throw the ball. I can take hits. He takes those sacks, but those sacks don't hurt them. He takes the sacks because normally when he try to run out, he'll make a bad play. He's just taking the sack.
Yeah, but why take a sack when you know you can run? You know what I mean? Like,
I guess the Paul's point, you want to risk injury, and now in the playoffs, he probably will be more susceptible to take the risk now.
But when you're pressured, you get outside. He might make an errant throw, a bad throw, something might happen. It becomes a pretty one-dimensional defense as far as just I'm going to break the pocket for Lamar Jackson. He's going to run outside. We can just kind of do whatever. But he's staying in the pocket. He's taking the sacks. He's throwing the ball out of bounds. He's doing all the things that manage the game. He's managing the game much better. He's not putting it all on him to make plays. Obviously, there's a 3rd and long, or if there's a 2nd and long, whatever, he could run. But I don't have a problem with him taking 37 sacks when he's thrown for the most passing yards in his career, and the team goddamn is, the best team in the NFL.
But you also got to remember, dude, taking the sacks, if you played the game of football, taking the sacks, that's as much injury prone as it is running. Obviously, running is a little more because you got the momentum running, but you can get just as hurt. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say it's smart, but I get what you're saying. But it's the correlation of it, man. He still got to use them damn legs, bro. You can't get sacked 37 times and want to win a goddamn playoff game. You know what I mean? And try to use that same tactic. Once you're playing in these playoffs, you got to play like this is your last game.
Yeah, and I think that's what he's going to change up.
Yeah,
I think that's what
he's got to. He's got to.
Because here's their offense. They're number one in rush attempts, but they're 30th in passing attempts. So they just the contrast at that offense. They rely on them running backs.
Running the ball, yeah.
Yeah, like so Gus Edwards got to have a good game because literally, like the Texans rush defense holds running back to 3.3 yards per carry. Now you turn Lamar into a thrower, as y'all mentioned earlier. You want to see can he really beat you in the pocket, passing the ball. Yeah. And I will say this though, he does have weapons now. Likely has come on for, I know we had injury to Mark Andrews. You got Zay Flowers, a talented rookie that's coming on. He has 858 yards for the season, 5 touchdowns. He led the Ravens in targets. Odell Beckham is that nice veteran presence, and I'm pretty sure he'll make some timely plays against the Texans, or at least be in position to do so. But Gus Edwards got to really show up here. He's the one that's got to take a lot of pressure off in this running game too. Blink on the other running back too. That's really good for the Ravens, but he's solid too. And they just really got to neutralize their running game against them because the Texans can really shut down the run. They do a really good job of that. They got Will Anderson, the talented rookie, play with Alabama, the defensive man that's got 22 quarterback hits and 45 tackles on the season. So they got a lot of good pieces around them to really neutralize the run. So I was going to ask you, who's your S factor for the the Texans, Paul? Who's your S factor?
I mean, similar to last week, I'd probably say Nico Collins. Like, he has to get going early. He got going real early last week, and that kind of put the Texans in a really good spot. He had some big catches, spread the defense. Obviously that defense isn't the Baltimore Ravens defense, but he's the guy that's going to get CJ Stroud going. He has to get open. He has to make catches, get CJ Stroud in a rhythm. And then obviously, you want to see Singletary be able to run the ball a little bit, take some pressure off of him. Those two guys on the offensive side for me. And obviously, it sounds crazy too, and I forgot about this last week, but Laramie Tunsil on the offensive line, because that guy's going to block the blind side for CJ Stroud. He's been doing it all year. He's always going to have the toughest assignment on the field, and that man held his own last week.
Yeah, the tough matchup against Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and he held his own against Myles Garrett. So, the left tackle's got to stop that pass rush, give CJ Stroud time to throw, and then Nico Collins just got to get open, and then once he gets open, it's just that guy's all yards after catch. You get him the ball in open space, he makes the most of it. And, there hasn't been a lot of teams that could hit Baltimore in the mouth, a lot of explosive teams. Baltimore typically gets ahead early, and then they just ride. So the Texans got to try to get out and score early on their first couple of possessions. If that doesn't happen, who knows?
Tom, speak on the Ravens pass rush. They got 60 sacks, which is first in the league, and they're led by Roquan Smith, who came from the Bears, and Patrick Queen. Both of these guys made all-pro, all teams. So talk about them, what their impact is to the team, and how significant will this pass rush be against a talented young quarterback in C.J. Stroud?
Well, I think this next level of playoff game is going to matter quite a bit because, he played this first playoff game, but there's levels to the shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think the tighter the game gets, that pass rush is going to get tighter as well because they know they got to win. Like we talked about earlier about these other teams. If Baltimore doesn't win this game, I think it's going to be a lot of backlash. And with that defense being one of the best in the league, I think they got to get to C.J. Stroud and disrupt that passing as much as they can. Block them running lanes because he can do it all as well, like I said. So it's going to be a big determining factor if they can get just even disrupt the passing lanes. You know what I mean? Just disrupt his running gaps. It's going to be a big factor. But also, I don't mean to overstep, but on the other side of the dime, the Houston Texans are like 14th or 15th defense in the league. They got to do the same damn thing, but they're not as good. You know what I mean? So it's like they've got to buckle down and actually try to hold on and try to hold this man that's one of the greatest running quarterbacks in the NFL history. They got to do the same goddamn thing, but they got to do it at a higher level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to your question again, these corner edge rushers are going to be having a field day, I think, with CJ, man, and they're just going to disrupt that pass. And they got to come out and they got to be – Singletary is one of those guys that is an every down back, I think. And once you bump him, once you coming in, you got to get him off his route. So he can't make these blocks. He can't make these little flat-out passes once they start rushing in. So CJ can't have extra opportunities to throw out to these flats. You know what I mean? You got to make him really toss downfield and not have these easy check downs. You know what I mean? So that rushing is going to be – well, that rush defense is going to be very, very critical to them winning this goddamn game.
Absolutely. All right, guys. In the last game, who are we picking to win? And Tom, you go first. Who's your winner?
I'm going to go Baltimore.
Paul, who's your winner?
I'm going to take Baltimore by 2 scores.
I got Baltimore making a statement too and advancing to the AFC Championship game. So,
Paul, you saying 2 scores because of the defense or because of the offense?
Both. They're going to get a lot of possessions. They're going to get the ball a lot.
You don't think CJ is going to be able to push that ball down the field too much?
He might, but can they stop Baltimore? And I think Baltimore put up a lot of points. And then the defense itself, they'll get stops. CJ Stroud might put up yards, but they'll get stops. He's not going to move the ball every possession.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. I was about to say, if they're going to have a lot of possessions, that means they're going to have a lot of stops. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can only push the ball so much and not get stops. You know what I mean? So I believe the same thing, man. I think their defense is going to resonate, and like you said, bro, they're going to give them stops.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about Geno Style, Kyle Hamilton. Tackling Ricky Dean came off, and so Nico Carnes got to go against one of them. Okay,
so the problem too is that the Texans kind of struggle running the ball. So if CJ Stroud's got to step back, drop back, and throw every possession, you're putting a lot of pressure on a rookie quarterback. So
and that's it. And that's what I was saying about them blocking them gaps for Singletary to run through, or them easy flat outs, man. You got to make that man step, drop back, and throw that ball. You got to disrupt that easy check down for him and make that dude make mistakes over the top.
So here's the thing to end the podcast on this last segment here. The Texans are 4-4 on the road. Their offense has 20 points in 5 of the 7 road games. So Baltimore can put up points. They can defend too. We have saw Baltimore flat out embarrass people on both sides of the ball. And I think that they got the potential to do that. They get their minds right. Don't let CJ come in here and get a little confident and get a little juice going. But I think they handle business right away. I think the Ravens will win big too. All right. Anything else like to add, guys? We had an hour and 40. I think we done covered
some football.
Cover all bases.
Yeah, man.
So
I'm ready to see this, man. I'm ready to see this. It's playoffs, man. All these games are gonna be good. I think and again, my Buccaneers fans, just because y'all bust my Eagles down, don't mean I'm trying to throw a shade on y'all, but I just think y'all just the weakest link in this playoffs, man. That's just me.
Definitely. Well, y'all see Tom holla at him, man.
Nah, Cortez Paul just said definitely. He agreed with me too. Stop trying to be that dude, man. Stop trying to be that way.
I'm trying to say it. Yeah, instigate, man.
Cut it out,
All right. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. My bad. All right. Make sure y'all stay tuned for us next week. We'll come on and discuss the recap of the game. Maybe I'll see how Thomas got looking like, get him back on here as well. Try to get Kevin on, but Kevin holding trivia tonight, so maybe we'll get him on next week as well too. Get that panel going as well. You can follow the podcast page at BILC Podcast. My Twitter name is, or S name is at _CP. Mr. Mac.
Catch me on X at _Paul_Mac and on Instagram at DPaulMac520.
Tom, you ain't got no social, so we're just gonna skip you.
No, you catch me at Tom Charles 1984 on Instagram. You can actually catch me at Facebook. You ain't gonna find me, but just catch me on Tom Charles 1984 on Instagram and Daddy Dick Dingler 2732 on OnlyFans. I just made a new page because I was doing a lot of racy stuff, so they took my other stuff down. Paul Mac was in a new video that we just did. It's called Paul Mac and Cheese Macking These Bitches. So catch that. It's out there. It's $5.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Paul not responding, so we'll keep it pushing.
You making that money, that's why. You making that bread.
You get the
Catch
podcast.
Catch me at Tender.
Cortez Paul to get it on Spotify. We're on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spreaker. Wherever you found us before, we're there. We're everywhere. You see the band at the bottom. YouTube is right there as well. So once again, guys, thanks for listening. Speaking for Tom Childs, Mr. Paul Mac, Cortez Paul, Balls on Court Podcast. Let's enjoy some football, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.